is that they force him to beat them throwing the football. And it was a debacle last year. Yeah, when you look at the stat line, like, damn, Lamar had almost 550 yards of total offense. But you realize the turnovers, the fumbles, the interceptions, and playing constantly from behind. And what teams try to do, Skip, they try to put him in a situation where he has to throw the football. Now, it's a lot easier said than done to put them in a situation where Lamar his legs are ineffective. But you got to get them down by probably 14, 17 points, which the Titans did, which the Chargers did. And so now we force you to throw the football.
We're talking about the two home playoff games.
Two home playoff games that they've lost. So can they be dangerous? Yeah, as long as you got 8. Yeah, Jack can dominate a game. They can run the ball for 300 yards on you. Take your offense totally out of the game. But the question is that the problem that they have when they play a team like Kansas City races out 17-14, and then all of a sudden Lamar Jackson's legs are neutralized and he has to throw, and so he plays into a team's hand. But can they be dangerous? Absolutely, because you saw what he did last night. He's capable of doing that. Can he do that for 3 or 4 games? Absolutely. He won the MVP, unanimous last year. So he had more than 2 or 3 games like he would need to have in the playoffs in order to get all the way home. So sure, they could, but I don't feel as confident this year as I felt last year, because I don't think their defense is as good, and I haven't seen the consistency that I saw from Lamar throwing the football last year to this year.
I have not either. So my answer to this question, you should disqualify. Before the year started, I thought this team was on the precipice of saying, watch this, we're going to right the wrong of our home playoff loss, and we're going to the Super Bowl. And I picked the Ravens to win it all this year. And I'll hang in with my pick only because of what I saw last night. That was a huge win for this team, a huge escape. It was Houdini, it was storybook, it was fairy tale. And again, you always laugh at my Cowboys. It could be a launching pad. But I would trust this team to use this as a launching team, a pad, a lot more than my team. Okay, so the Ravens played the easiest remaining schedule in all the league. They got Jacksonville at home, New York Giants at home, and finish at Cincinnati.
They should go 3-0.
They should go 3-0. I don't know about the injuries to Jimmy Smith and maybe Marcus Peters, but you made a point. Maybe his pride was hurt as much as his calf.
Even the backup, Devontae Harris, ended up going down.
Yeah, he did. So I don't know about how that's going to affect them going forward. So it's going to be dictated by the injury gods. But here's the weird thing about this. If they do eke in to the final playoff spot, right now they're outside looking in.
Yes.
But they need to win out, and they still have high percentage chance. I think it's almost 90%.
Because I think Miami still has to play Buffalo.
Yep. So they're favored to make the playoffs. If they do, they're almost certainly going on the road, right?
Yes.
So what have we seen from Lamar? Well, as you say, when he's right, he's just a force of nature.
Yeah.
He can beat anybody.
Yeah.
And what I loved about the Ravens last night, you can speak to as well as anybody on this planet, this side of Ray Lewis. I just loved the tradition of that team, and it still permeates that locker room.
Absolutely.
They know what you did and what Ray did. They feel it in their bones because they put on that purple, and that it's like, yeah, this franchise has done this for a long time.
Skip, when you talk about, you hear Miami Heat talk about culture. Where it started, Baltimore is culture.
Ozzie Newsome.
Yes.
Okay. So at home, for reasons inexplicable to me so far, Lamar has been disastrous. 2 stinkers of home playoff games, losses. And then this year, he's had 2 more big primetime stinkers at home at the hands of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and the Steelers.
Right.
Both just embarrassed him at home.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to give you the cumulative stats of those 4 home losses for Lamar. He's thrown 7 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, but in those games, he's fumbled 9 times and lost 5 of them. That's all 4 of those stinkers, all at home, all in Baltimore, a place you guys used to just own, right? His QBR for those 4 games on average was 24. Again, last night he had 99.5, okay? He's got 4 of the top 8 QBRs of all time, but guess what? All 4 of those came on the road.
Which would be good because they'll be on the road.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So last year in his MVP run, he had 3 of those top 8. And they started off, remember the opener at Miami?
Yep.
He was 99.5. And then he had a game at Cincinnati, 99.8. And then at the Rams last year when they just destroyed them on Monday Night Football.
Game.
Well, it was close. It was 99.8. So my point to you is he's now had 4 of these 99.5 to 0.8 games.
Right.
All 4 on the road. Well, if this is road warrior time for the Ravens, I'm still going to give them an outside shot at winning the AFC. But obviously, to do that, all roads lead through Kansas City.
Yep.
So what would be the odds? They would have to go in and flip the script.
Yes.
They would have to go right down with the, let's say, opening kickoff or whenever their first possession is, and they would need to go ahead 7-0 because
Yes.
that's the only way this team is going to.
Yeah, you
to do
definitely
it.
you have to possess the football, and you have to play out those possessions with touchdowns instead of field goals. Sometimes people make the mistake, Skip. They're like, well, we had the ball for 8 minutes, but you kicked the field goal.
Yep.
Yeah, and Mahomes don't need but about a minute to go down the field and get a touchdown.
Agreed.
And what you've done, all that hard work is basically out the window because you're like, hold on. We just had the ball for 8 minutes. He had the ball for a minute, and they're ahead 7-3.
Yep.
The question I have for you, Skip, who would you fear more in the playoffs, Cleveland or Baltimore?
Baltimore. As much as I like Baker, and we're going to talk about Baker in a moment here, but
I say the same thing.
just on
Because of Lamar.
it's Lamar, but it's also guts, pride, tradition, just that baller mentality. They have it. And on defense, those 2 corners are really good. I don't care. Hey, listen, you know Humphrey's the father,
yeah.
right? Okay. And Marcus Peters, I know he clues. I know you can.
They go high-low him, Skip. They just high-low him every time because they know.
He got burned last night on one of those.
Skip, he's looking to get that cheap pick.
Yep, he is. But he can really play.
Oh, yeah.
He can play make. And once they got Calais back, and I remind everybody, this team has been COVID-racked.
Yes.
It sort of racked the psyche of this team because it was an outbreak,
Right.
man. And they were losing players right and left, and they lost practice time. They lost continuity. If they take off from last night, I still give them a shot because when you have those 2 corners and you can rush, you got Judon and Calais to rush the passer and get hands up.
Ngakwe.
Yep.
But Skip, I thought with the addition of Ngakwe and Judon and Calais, I thought they would generate more pressure than what they've generated. And they still can't get consistent pressure on the quarterback. And I think when you play that much man coverage, you're asking an awful lot of your corners to hold up that length of time. And what you see is that you see Baker take off and scramble for first downs. You also see him scramble and buy times and guys come open. So you're going to have more integrity as far as responsibility, not letting the quarterbacks get outside. But for the most part, you look, Mahomes got legs. Tannehill will make you pay. Big Ben really not trying to run. Josh Allen can make you play with his legs.
Definitely.
So you got to be careful, but I definitely would trust them more than Cleveland for the simple fact Lamar Jackson is scary. You don't want to see him.
Very scary, and for some reason he's scarier on the road.
Yes.
Remember his first meeting with Mahomes?
Yes.
That was when I first noticed Lamar. That's when I first said, wait a second.
It took 2 4th-down throws.
Yeah.
Mahomes had to throw a 4th down to both times. Well, one time to Tyreek.
Yeah.
Skip, it was 4th and 4, 4th and 5, and he threw it like 40 yards down the field. And then it was 4th and goal, and he hit, I think, Williams for a touchdown. So it took that.
That was the coming out party for Lamar where I sat back and said, wait a second, I think maybe the league just missed on Lamar Jackson because everybody except Ozzie said no.
Right.
Right?
You're exactly right. And John Harbaugh says, hey, why we keep banging our head against the wall saying we got to get a guy? How about get this guy and build a system around him and let's go from there? It takes a lot of guts, Skip, to think outside of the box when you're dealing with that position.
Yep.
That's the one position because everybody wants prototypical. Everybody wants 6'4", Skip, 240, drop back passer, boom. But now,
Joe Flacco.
Yeah. Now, Skip, you got to get guys that can move.
Yep.
The guys are too good. If the guy can't move, he's a sitting duck.
Got it. Agreed.
All right, well, even though the Ravens did look so good last night, did Baker Mayfield actually prove something to everyone in the loss? Don't go anywhere.
No mercy.